Hey, hey. Okay. Let's talk about React. Let's talk about React JS. Just waiting for a few people to join in here. What is today? Thursday, 3:30 p.m. here in Austin, Texas. Hey, what's up, everybody? Guy Godot, Wilmar, Archer Johnny, Shoot Your Shot, Shimoon, Yashuredi, Indrit. What's up, everyone? Blacklisted. Where y'all joining in from today? What part of the world? What time is it there? Hey, bruh. What's up? And do go to bite. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I'm working from home today. What's up, Rick? I was at the office and then I came home to get lunch, and then things came up, and so I'm working from home right now in my audio tent. Yo, what's up, everybody? We'll talk a little bit about React today. React JS. Jersey. Love from India. 131 in LA. Nice. Holy smokes, did all these questions just come in today? What are all these questions on Instagram here? What? Oh, they're like coming from stories. This is new. I'm getting questions from stories here in my live stream. Are React and Angular languages or a framework considered a language too? Yeah, React and Angular are frameworks. They're all built in JavaScript. Interesting. Anyway, what's your opinion to work from home? I've worked from home for over 6 years. I mean, I've had offices too, but I always choose to work from home in a lot of cases. I don't ever have reasons to work from the office unless I need to get away from noise and kids and go record. So, uh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Holes? Holes. I'm doing well. I'll talk about React today, React JS. We talk about it a lot. We learn it a lot. It's the world's most popular web component framework. And it's pretty cool, right? But you know what? Um, I I have some complaints. As I've been using it, I've been using it for years, and I really realize that there are use cases when you should not use React. Actually, so React is a single page application a system or a framework that lets you build stations. And let's talk about that. And that's an SPA. What is the advantage? My audio is messed up. Why is my audio messed up? Let me see. Testing. My audio sounds great. Sounds just fine. So a single page application, audio sounds bad. I've got like an $800 microphone here. It sounds great to me, but I guess it's not going well for YouTube. Whatever. Here, you can have a happy MacBook Pro microphone, everybody. There you go. So, single page application. What it does is it renders your entire page or your entire website in one application. Okay. Or one web page. So normally on a website, you might have, index.html, about.html, and you have a different HTML page for each of your pages on your website. But with single page applications like React or Angular, what happens is you build out your whole website and it renders it real time. So it swaps out components real time at runtime. So there's only ever one index.html file and all the code just swaps itself out. And what that does is it allows you to build some really cool modular or component-based systems like reusable code, which was pretty hard to do back in the days of jQuery and just pure JavaScript. But now you can. And so you can have really fast applications that can think. They can do lots of really cool things. You can have authentication. You can, buy stuff. You can have carts and all kinds of really cool things that allow you to just build really fast. But there are some problems that I've been experiencing. I have years of experience with React, And we've used it at DevSlopes for apps. So we've used React for, we built a cross-platform system with Electron, like apps and systems where people log in and have authentication and things like that. And yeah, I'll get to everyone's questions. But basically, um, I've been building applications like that need to think. But now I have DevSlopes website, our front end page, and it's all built with React. And working with React has actually been a nightmare. And the reason for this is because our pages, the sole purpose of our website is for sales and marketing. And so right now our SEO is terrible. It is very difficult to have good SEO with React. It can't be indexed very well by Google because it's a single page application. Those pages don't live there, right? Yeah, there's things and hacks you can do, but there's other problems too. Like we're constantly integrating scripts like Facebook Pixel, Google Tag Manager, like HubSpot, cookies, and a whole bunch of other third-party scripts. And third-party scripts do not play well with React. So if you're dependent upon third-party scripts and you're using React, you have to build your own integration for it. And sometimes you can't. You have no control over that. You don't even have access to the code for these third-party scripts, and they don't play well with React. In fact, with the React, you often have to inject the scripts on the homepage, and every single web page on your website has to implement the script. And so it's basically just slowing down your website and wasting time. Also, iframes are terrible with React. They just do not participate well. Yes, you can use them, and yes, you can hack them. We do all kinds of things, but they're a huge pain to work with. So again, we've got Vimeo, we've got YouTube, we've got Wistia, we've got third-party analytics and all kinds of things, and none of these things play well with React. And so building out things on our website has been a complete nightmare because we're always integrating iframes and doing all kinds of other things like that. And so my belief is React should not be used for marketing or front-end facing websites that you want indexed by Google, sales pages, things like that, information pages. You should not use React for that stuff because one is it's overkill, but two, it is completely working against you. Now, we use React because it allows us to build amazing things. So now what we're actually doing is we're rebuilding the entire DevSlopes website with Next.js. And it allows us to build with React at build time, but not at runtime. It's actually going to build with React, but convert it all to plain JavaScript and create static pages for us. This is going to allow our front-end website and marketing website to actually be indexed by Google, to have super fast load times, and to be able to implement all the cool marketing tools and systems without having the issues of a single page application. So React.js is really awesome, but there are use cases for it, and there's times actually when you should not use it. And we actually made a mistake using it for our front end website because it's become a bigger pain than anything else. So that's my story with React today. Let me go answer some of these questions. We can talk more about React. You came on 1 hour early. No, I didn't. 3:30 Austin time. I'm a junior programmer at Google. Can I work with you? I don't know what that means. Which is the best framework? So there's React, there's Angular. It's kind of like apples and oranges. They do different things. I wouldn't say one of them's best. Best book for beginners to start. I always recommend. My mic is dead. You guys and all your mic issues. My mic is working fine. It was working fine before. It's working fine now. I can see it right here working. Best book, I always recommend to my students, this is not a beginner book, but I always recommend you read the book Clean Code, Clean Architecture, Design Patterns. Those are 3 books that are super, super important to read. Have you tried React Gatsby? Yeah, we've tried Gatsby. We like Next a lot better. After having built a few websites with Gatsby, we really, really like Next. Phoenix Games, you're the reasons I even know how to code. Awesome. Is React industry standard when it comes to web development? I'm new to all of this. Let's see here. Is React the industry standard when it comes to web development? Yeah, React is pretty industry standard when it comes to building like major software products, like apps that need to think and do things. Yeah, React is becoming very, very popular. Before that, we were before that the whole industry basically used server-side rendering like Python and Django or Ruby on Rails, where you actually or PHP, where you actually just inject data into the HTML, like it's called templating or server-side rendering. But it's really moving a lot. We're really moving away from that, and I think that's good because I think the front end should be separated from the back end completely. That way you can swap out your back ends more easily. You can change tools and systems. Same thing with the front end. With Python and Django, if you build a whole web app with Python and Django, you're stuck with Python and Django for the front end and the back end forever. What's up, everyone who's coming in here? Is it easier to learn beginner as a beginner to learn front end or back end? So I always recommend people learn the front end first. It's very difficult to get jobs doing back end development as a junior programmer. People like to argue with me on this, but I just look at the numbers and jobs. So there's some distortion. It must be streaming then, I don't know. Front end is easier for beginners. Where can I get that cap? It's on coderswag.com. Coderswag.com. You can buy these caps. Can use PHP for React. There'd be no point for that. You could use PHP and Laravel on the back end and then the front end for React, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. Can I join as a part-timer? I don't need any developers right now. What do you think about Vue.js? I think that it does the same thing as React. It's just less popular. I've played around with it. It's cool. How can you manage the feeling of being late or behind compared to others? I'm struggling with basics. Yeah, you just gotta be patient. Don't compare yourself to other people. I mean, just don't worry about that stuff. Are you a freelancer? No, I run DevSlopes. It's a learn to code company. We train people in programming. I've done lots of freelancing though. We all like your content. Nice. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, React. So React is one of the most popular frameworks out there. Before that, we had jQuery, which did a lot of really cool things. The problem with jQuery is it's not like really a managed system. You can just do anything with it, so there's no great design pattern for it. Whereas React enforces a design pattern, and so does Angular. How do you connect React to a database? You don't. You have your front end with JavaScript talk to the back end, and the back end talks to the database. I don't have any job vacancies, no. Love your content, thanks. Yeah. What else were we talking about? We're talking about React. Like one problem I had recently with React was that we implementing an iframe, but with React, like your pages, they only really load one time, and we didn't want the iframe to load till later, but you can't really do that with React, so we had to like dismantle the iframe and break it out into JavaScript and like insert elements manually. It was like the biggest pain ever. We have to do a lot of stuff like that with React when it comes to iframes or scripts. Do you think a bit of backend knowledge is necessary for front-end developer? So I think it's good to know. Most importantly, it's really important to learn HTTP, how network requests work. You don't need to build a backend. Building a backend can help you understand that, but just to mess around, like getting a job doing that is like, as a beginner, getting a job doing that is not the quickest path to a job. Learn and master front-end development. Talk to APIs. You have to master working with APIs, but not necessarily building the back end. I mean, it's a good practice to go build a node service to see what it's like, but you don't want to split your focus. You don't want to become a master of both. Unless you want to do freelancing. If you want to do freelancing, you can do it all, but you're still going to have to learn one before the other. What type of websites can you build with React? Yeah, you can build anything really, but basically it's really designed for websites that can think, right? Like, so think of like Airbnb, you got to search listings and change components out. You got to check out, purchase, Amazon. Like, you can build any of those websites with a system like React. Just keep in mind it's a single page application. It only runs on one page and it changes out real time. So if you want to be indexed on Google, if you want your marketing content, your blogs, anything with blogs, don't use React for. Anything that has content that you need marketed and on Google and searchable, And if you have lots of third-party components, I would recommend not using React, actually. What's your favorite stack for backend dev? So I've used Node for years because you don't have to learn a new language, right? You can just use JavaScript and it's served all my needs. Python and Django are great. I wouldn't use Python and Django personally, though. I would use Python and Flask before I use Python and Django. Django is like a big, huge mothership that does a bajillion things, including like templating and rendering HTML. And I like my backends simple and segregated. So I would use Flask with Python. But Node and MongoDB are great. We even did Node and MongoDB when I worked on Call of Duty. That would run millions of requests. It's well tested. It's a great system. I'm 17 and want my career to focus on CS. What do you think I should learn more about before joining any college, university? Just learn whatever you want. At that age, just learn whatever you want. It doesn't really matter at that point, especially if you're going to school. You know, they're going to teach you stuff anyway. So just learn whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I'm a business analyst and I need some tips. So I don't have any tips for a business analyst. If you have a specific question, you said coding is not quick, rich career option. Can you tell me more? I mean, I've said that in the past. Yeah. It's just a lot of people want to learn to code in 3 months and like make 100 grand a year. I've helped students learn to code in 4 months and 5 months and get jobs that pay $100,000. But you know, those are the exceptional students who put in the time. Most people don't put in that kind of effort. And so, you know, I always recommend spend 8 to 10 months, just at it 2 to 3 hours a day, and you'll get a job. And then you can grow from there. I know this is off topic, but I would love to hear your opinion on Java full stack developers. So here's what I see in the industry and from people I know that are working in Java. Java's enterprise language. You know, startups don't choose Java as their stack. It's, you know, it's big, it's well tested, it's great, but you know, it's big. It's not as user friendly, developer friendly as other languages and frameworks and platforms. So Java's very enterprise. At the end of the day, Java Spring Boot, that's kind of the main stack that's really used out there. Yes, you can use Java with anything, right? Because it has its virtual machine, but nobody's like, I'm going to create a brand new app, cross-platform app, and we're going to do it all in Java. Like, those apps are few and few. And I know someone's going to be like, well, what about Minecraft, Mark, huh? You know, like I said, there's a few applications that, you know, started that way or start that way, but it's not the trend unless you're enterprise. Java is a very enterprise language. So if you're interested in working corporate work, Java is a great stack. That's all I have to say about it. Yeah. What language you suggest for backend with React.js? It doesn't matter. React's your front end, so the backend could be Python and Django, Python and Flask, it could be Ruby on Rails, it could be PHP, it could be Node, it doesn't matter. There's no best. If you can't use React.js for your website, what can you use? So, me personally, we are using Next.js for the rebuild of our website, but you get to build it with React. So the build tools are all in React. That's the powerful thing about React, right? Being able to reuse components and things like that. But what Next does is it takes all of your React code and then converts it more or less back into plain JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and makes it static, non-changing. And what this does is instead of having one single page application at runtime, we'll have like 20 or 30 or 50 pages all in a huge folder. All of it can be indexed by Google. All of it's just pure JS, like, and we just have more options available. And because of Next.js plugin system, we can integrate like things a little bit better with like iframes and scripts and things like that. So we get the power of working with React without actually having to use it at runtime, which is great. Today you look tired. What were you doing? I am a little tired today, and I don't know why. Any tips for applying for my first job? Yeah, I recommend making sure your resume is really great. Look at the DevSlopes podcast if you want tips on the resume. Resume is key to getting in the door to your first job. Look at my podcast, DevSlopes podcast. How do you suggest studying the books you recommend? Do you use them as reference to read? So I tell people don't read a whole lot of books for programming. However, those books I listed earlier they are informational books, not how-to books. So like Clean Code, that's one of the most important books you can ever read. I recommend trying to get that on audiobook. You can listen to it in your car, Clean Architecture, design patterns, things like that. There are things that you can listen to. It's supplemental. There's no exercises or things like that in those books, but they're informational, but they're very good books, very, very useful books. How to get front-end job in UK as a university student part-time? Well, develop the skills and apply. Apply, apply, apply. What are your thoughts on Laravel? I personally don't think people should use PHP if they have a choice. It's a scripting language. There are better languages out there. PHP has evolved over the years. It used to be, and still is used mostly as a templating type of language where you inject data into your HTML, CSS, but using Laravel and PHP purely for backend. I mean, that's cool if you know PHP, but it surely would not be my first choice because I think there's way better and faster languages that have more options available. Languages like C#, for instance. I haven't really put time into learning UI. Do you use Figma or Sketch, and is it necessary? It just depends what you want to do, Rick. If you're getting a job as an iPhone developer, you don't need to know it. I have used Figma a little bit. I've always used Sketch in the past for vector stuff. I use Photoshop here and there for like app icons. I learned those things just so I didn't have to hire people to do stuff all the time. But if you're working a job, you don't need to know that stuff. Do you know Kachara Seth? Great program from India. I do not. Your biggest project you ever built? It was probably the app for DevSlopes itself. We built an LMS, a learning management system that, uploaded videos. You could play videos. Students could play videos. A whole bunch of, you get rewards for completing videos, things like that. It, had a couple million lines of code. I worked on it. My whole team worked on it. What language does aliens use for coding? I don't even know what you're saying. How's the web tech market in UK compared to the US? Here's what I've seen. In UK, there are more jobs that require degrees than in the United States, but that's opening up a lot more. The technologies are pretty used the same, like from web technologies, the same as United States. I mean, so it doesn't matter what you learn, you're going to find some market for that. That's what I've seen, at least. I have lots of students from the UK. Hello, I'm from testing background, interested in move front end and then full stack further. Yep, I think that's a great path. How do you get experience in UI UX as an app developer? Just learn it. Build your own UI. Build your own apps. What framework do you recommend starting with? Once comfortable with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. React is definitely the next one I recommend. Master React, and you can get a job and you can work on anything. What is the secret behind your awesomeness? I have no secret, and I am no awesome person. I just do the same things every single day for long periods of time. Here's the key to life, everybody, and learning to code and whatever. If you do something consistently, you will become amazing at it. I never have luck. Luck has never been on my side in my life. I don't have rich uncles. I don't have magical things. Growing up, I had a poor childhood. We were broke. I went to school. I'd get punched in the face, beat up, bullied, everything in between. Life is life for everybody. But what I do is I'm just consistently consistent. That is it. Some people get big and do great things. I do mediocre things and end up doing them well because I do mediocre things for so long. 2 a.m. from Pakistan. Hey, what is up? Should people negotiate salaries for their first job? And if so, what would you say? Rick, you got to come in with confidence. Just know the number that you want. If they give you the number that you want, don't negotiate. Why would you do that? If they're not giving you the number you want, just say this is the number that you want. Or shoot a little higher. You can negotiate down, but most people will give you what you want. So, is it necessary to learn jQuery if you want to be a React developer? Necessary? No, but you should learn it if you can, because lots of projects have it in there. They have it in there, okay? Is there any free course in JavaScript on the DevSlopes platform? Maybe. I do have I do. I have a free little course on our website. On the DevSlopes website, you can click the free course button. We got free courses there. Lots of support. Love all your talks. Thanks. How you didn't give up after getting beat up? It's just life, right? Like a lot of people get like victimized, beat up, broken down, and it affects them pretty hard. Whereas with me, I'm just like, I'm gonna just not let it affect me. I'm just gonna I'm gonna get my goals, accomplish things, you know. So I can't really speak to any of that, but consistency is key to everything in life. Everything. Consistency is key. I'm currently focusing my study time on web development, trying to get to a level where I could get my first job as a front end developer. What would you say is a good place to start? Yeah, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then master React. I have 2 job offers. One uses Angular and the other uses React. Is it a big deal which job offer I choose? No. Choose whichever one you want. Whatever company looks best. You know, if you know how to code, you can learn a framework. A real employer, a true employer, who's a good employer, they'll see your value in code and be like, okay, learn React or learn Angular. They won't care. If they know you're good, they won't care which framework you choose. Uh, I would if I was needing to hire a React developer and I found an amazing developer and all they knew was Angular, I would still hire them for React because I know they'd be able to learn it. It's not a big deal. Am I single? I have a wife and 6 kids and a dog and 2 cats and lots of neighbors and lawnmowers going off in the background right now. How much of React JS should I know first job? Master it. Master it. The front end is getting oversaturated. It's not oversaturated. There's always more everything. Any tips on how I can start freelancing? Yeah, DevSlopes podcast. Look up the freelancing episode. What type of project should I put in my portfolio? Big ones. Just one big one, even just a one that shows real skill, that shows your depth, how good you are at something advanced. You know, like an Airbnb or a Netflix or something powerful, not just a simple learning project. Sunny, how do I know if I'm job ready? It's hard to know completely, but I always, as a rule of thumb, if you are a master of APIs, meaning you can integrate with any API, you can receive the JSON, you can parse the JSON into data, you can show it in the UI, you can work with authentication and web tokens. If you know all that stuff in and out, you're ready to get a job. If those things didn't sound familiar to you at all, then you're not ready probably. What do you think about people who are script kiddies? I've heard that phrase before, but I'm not sure what that means. Sorry. Like people who use scripting languages? I can't remember. Someone says I look like Gary Vee. Maybe. A little bit. Next week, I'm applying to be your student. I'm struggling with JavaScript. I understand the syntax, but I get brain clapped when I try to use APIs and know to use object. Yep. It's hard. It's hard stuff. It's hard stuff. You got to practice it a lot. You got to get really good with it. What's really interesting is I see a lot of companies and schools, they focus on like HTML, CSS, but they don't focus on JavaScript, like getting really, really good with JavaScript, with the code. Like JavaScript's just like an afterthought. And then they don't really focus on the API stuff. It is so critical that you learn how to work with APIs, because 90% of what you do as a developer will be working with APIs. At least as a front-end developer, 90% of what you'll be doing is working with APIs. You need to master that stuff. So we can help you with that. We focus on that quite a bit. Which car do you own? I have a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Give me a concept of file handling in C++. Sorry, I have no information to give you on that. How you felt when you launched your first app? Yeah, I literally thought I was going to make $1 million when I launched my first app, and I didn't make anything. Is game programming a good career? Yeah, it's a great career. You should just do what you love to do. Was looking around in GitHub. What's your username for GitHub? I'm not gonna give you my username because I don't contribute to any projects, and I don't do anything active on GitHub that is public. All my work is private. Private repos. How much JavaScript is enough for React? I mean, you should learn ES6 pretty well. You should be able to solve core algorithms and problems, like just core things. I mean, you can start learning React, but learn JavaScript first. You are rich, right? I am not rich by any means. But in terms of the world that we live in, I suppose you could say I'm doing really well. compared to the world as a whole. But I am just a person who runs a business. There are influencers. There are other programmers who have like 1 million followers on YouTube. About 1 million followers on YouTube. That's gonna make you probably around. I would say, let's see, $10,000 a month. So $10,000 to $15,000 a month is 1 million subscribers. You know, so there's guys and gals on YouTube who are just programming and making 10 to 15K a month, just making YouTube videos. Like, I mean, I'm running a business. We've got costs and other things associated with it. So, anyway, do you have to master JavaScript to learn React? I recommend mastering JavaScript to learn React, because here's the problem. What a lot of people do is they jump right into React, and then when a complex problem happens on a project, they don't know how to solve it. They go look for React frameworks. They go look for modules instead of just solving it with JavaScript. There's been many developers in the past that I've mentored where they're like, I can't do this, Mark, because there's not a component for it in React. I can't find a library for it. And I just say to them, just do it in JavaScript. And they're like, I don't know how. And you don't want to be that person, okay? React is built on JavaScript. You need to be able to do anything with JavaScript. So master JavaScript, and then you can get into React. So, yeah, those are good questions, though. Which job offer would you rather choose? Working on boring projects with higher pay versus working on cool projects with lower pay? Really, just depends on your lifestyle, and what you want. At the end of the day, you're not going to be happy doing things you don't want to do. I personally prefer to work on dynamic projects, things that change out, business-facing things. I also like projects that give me flexibility. Like when I was working at actual companies, I made sure always to work at companies that gave me flexibility in my schedule. That was more important than the projects, is having a free schedule, because I was always working on my own things. And so it didn't matter if it was a boring project, so long as they gave me a flexible schedule so I could work on my own things. Project ideas, a Bitcoin wallet app, that would be very difficult to make. A Netflix app that actually functions, you know, front and back and things like that. Yeah, I'm doing a JavaScript challenge, Darkslayer, a JavaScript challenge, April 1st, 30 days of code JavaScript with coaching and mentorship, 30 days. You get a new challenge, a new mission every single day. It gets harder and harder and harder. That's coming up pretty soon. You can, if you go to the website, devslips.com, and scroll to the bottom, an email pop-up will appear, and you can actually subscribe in the general chat box, or subscribe box, and then you'll get notified when we launch that. Which programming language should I learn? Should I learn Java or Python or C++? It just depends what you want to do. It all depends on what you want to do. Pick your path, pick your learning path or your job path, and then pick the tech stack you want for that. So, is there any age bias for someone who's about to graduate high school to get a job? Not really. If you're good and mature, don't be immature. Companies don't hire immature people, so you have to be mature. Which programming language do you like the most? I like Swift, and I like C#. I've also been really liking Dart. It's been pretty cool. But yeah. Hey, everybody. We're going to wrap this up here, but we have, if you want to work one-on-one with me at the DevSlips Academy, we have a special promotion going on. I'm not giving details for it, but we have a special promotion going on right now. If you go to devslips.com, it's only for 3 days only. We have a special promotion going on. Go to devslips.com and you can apply. Devslips.com, and you can apply. We have a special promo going on. Just mention it in the application. You can work with me and my team one-on-one, and we will work with you until you get a paid work guaranteed. So guaranteed stuff there. Yeah, if you want me to be a mentor, you got to join the DevSlips Academy. I mentor people through the DevSlips Academy only, and through these live streams. Rick Martinez, when do we get access to dev courses if we bought the Kickstarter? Yeah, so I've got a Kickstarter going on as well. For me personally, Mark Wahlbeck, I'm writing a book, and you can get some coding courses in that Kickstarter. As soon as the campaign ends, Rick, I will be issuing out the courses. So I put the Kickstarter link in YouTube. For those of you on Instagram, if you search on Kickstarter, The Last Hacker, it's my book. You can pick out 4 coding courses, $1,200 worth of coding courses for $47. and that's ending in just a few days. Just a few days, that campaign is ending. So thanks, everybody. This will be recorded, and we will be here tomorrow to talk about more things. So see you later.